Welcome to Breakaway Coverage. I'm the host, John Carlo Nadeau. Absolutely delighted to be joined by head coach Peter Hay from Trinity Western University. Coach, thanks so much for doing this. How's everything going?
No, thanks for having me. It's a privilege to be on your show and excited to see how you're taking off with this and really supporting the female game.
Truly do appreciate it. It's an honor to have you here today. Let's jump in and kind of figure out what got you into hockey.
Yeah, I mean, typical Canadian story of growing up since 2 years old on skates and falling in love with it and becoming a passion and just found my way through the sport and really enjoyed every moment of it, even the highs and the lows. And yeah, just so thankful for the sport that's given me so much and very thankful for the opportunities that I had through the sport.
Did you have a favorite NHL team growing up?
Yeah, so I grew up in my young age. It was through the Gretzky generation when the Oilers were very, very strong and won a bunch of cups. And so obviously it was pretty easy to fall in love with the Oilers. And then when a young man by the name of Pavel Bure entered into the Vancouver area, I switched over to the local Vancouver Canucks team and was a big fan of Pavel Bure and the excitement he brought to Vancouver. And yeah, it's kind of full circle. I unfortunately am back to being on the Oilers bandwagon again. It's hard not to enjoy their top players with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and some of the great playoff games they've had of late. So yeah, I would say I'm an Oilers fan, but and my heart still has room for the local Vancouver Canucks that hopefully one day they can figure it out.
Hopefully one day for sure. I mean, you talk about guys like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but who is somebody that you looked up to growing up, maybe as a mentor?
Yeah, I mean, I had a few different mentors, but probably on the NHL side of who I looked up to would be some key captains of some NHL teams like Joe Sakic, who was also a local boy at one point in the Burnaby area that went on to very successful Hall of Fame career. Steve Eiserman, again another BC Cranbrook boy that. Again, led the right way. Obviously, we can talk about Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, but I was really drawn to the captains, the leaders. Obviously they were stars as far as their skill sets and their points and statistics, but I just fell in love with how they led teams as well and how they interviewed. And I was a bit of a hockey geek that I'd watch these interviews and listen to every word they said and took it for how I can improve as a person and as a leader as well. And so those were really impactful times to watch some of those amazing leaders that led their teams to not only Stanley Cups, but just a day in and day out of the dressing room and all the little details that make up a champion team.
No, for sure. And just talking about you as a coach, that coaching background that you have, it speaks for itself. Junior hockey, college gate, youth development. What's been the most rewarding part of that journey?
They're all a little different, but they all have pros and cons. Like there's challenges in the development side of the game, and there's challenges in the team side. And but the reward for me is when the light bulb goes off. I mean, it's as a teacher, coach, when you pound the pavement day in and day out. You try to do things the right way as a coach. You try to build a program, build a culture, build into their character. And when the light bulb goes off and a player all of a sudden turns into what you have perceived they could, then reached their potential, so to speak, found a way to be successful mentally, physically, on the ice, statistically, whatever it is. It's just so rewarding as a coach and a leader to be around a person that's figuring it out and the light bulbs going off. And those moments are special and probably what keeps me coming back to the rink day in and day out to do all the work it takes. But it's those moments that are just so cool to see a human being succeeding in life.
I couldn't agree more. It's certainly, very rewarding to be part of a team and to be a coach. That's some great, words right there. And I guess the next question I've got for you is what made you want to become a coach? Because we know why you wanted to play hockey, but why did you want to become, somebody on that bench?
Yeah, I think like a lot of coaches, sometimes you just end up there by the process of your hockey career ending, and so eventually, when you love something as much as most coaches and players do, and the passion they have for the game, when the game ends as a player, is sort of the natural next step is to get into coaching. And um, with my background in education and teaching, that I got a degree from UBC via UMass Lowell. Um, I was very thankful that that career path of teaching it's really just coaching in the classroom, and it really helped me to learn about the mind and how to motivate and how to build a classroom. And it's virtually the same thing as building a culture on a hockey club as well. So I got a lot of education and a lot of information, but for me, going from a player to a coach was sort of a natural next step. And I really enjoyed working hockey schools. Sometimes you call it PR work as a pro player or a college player or junior player. You'd work inside your communities and do different things for local hockey schools or giving back to the game at the grassroots. And I just always loved it. I just felt like it was a natural place for me, and I loved helping kids. And again, seeing the light bulb go off for them, and it was just a lot of fun. It wasn't work for me, and it was always just playtime. And anytime someone asked me to do a hockey school or help out, I just put my hand up and did it, and loved every minute of it. And so yeah, I think it's important to work where your passion and your purpose lie, and I'm thankful that I'm in that.
You spent time coaching with the Fraser Valley Thunderbirds. I'm just curious to know what lessons, you've learned as a coach from that time that you brought into your time with TWU.
Yeah, I mean, so many lessons, but if I could pick one, it's probably that one size doesn't fit all. As a coach, you get your strategies, you get your game plans, you get your systems and how you run things and how you deal with players. And every year your players change, and you get a new group of players, and those players need different things than the last year's team needed, and the leadership group changes, and how you deal with the people, and just generationally things change from the type of kid that's coming up the pipeline versus the older school that was there before. And so for me personally, I learned a lot about don't assume anything, always be very clear in communication, and always try to meet the players where they're at, not where necessarily where you just it's not a cookie cutter curriculum. You got to really understand your people, and really dig into who they are and how they thrive and what motivates each human being differently, and find successful ways to do that, because beyond the sport of hockey, it's really ultimately motivating human beings. And when you motivate them the right way and with respect, and where they want to block a shot with their teeth for you because they like you as a coach so much, and they know you care so much, they want to be part of that. And yeah, I grew up with a lot of older school type coaches that coached with fear and threats, and I never thrived in that environment myself. So I thrive more in a positive leadership with motivating encouragement, and yeah, still challenging, but still you knew that they respected you as a person, and you weren't just a piece of meat, so to speak, that they wanted you to get them a win.
Yeah, no, you bring up a lot of great points there. You're right. Not every player is the same. Not every player is going to want to be treated the same. How important is that, especially at that university level, to kind of treat players differently and really make sure they have everything they need to succeed?
Yeah, in the education field background I have, it's called differentiated learning, and every child in your class learns differently. And it's no different on your hockey club. Some thrive more on instant feedback. Some need to be shown on video. Some need more of a private meeting where they don't feel embarrassed. Some want you to be a little bit harder on them. So it's really knowing your people again. And we do a lot of player meetings. We get to know our people really well, and it's not just about hockey. It's about life. It's about where they are at school, how they're doing, and family, and what's going well at home, and what's not going well, and how can we support them and care for them and serve them essentially as athletes. And that goes a long way, because you build into the person, and the best will come out of them as a hockey player when again they know you care, they you know each other really well and you know how each other tick. Now you can create success in that relationship. So yeah, again, just knowing your people.
With your experience coaching males and now coaching females, is it, how different is it? Because I'm sure there's people that just think, oh, you're a coach, you coach whatever, you got. But the reality is, I'm sure there are differences and, of course, some similarities from coaching males and ultimately coaching females.
Yeah, great question. Like for me, my first thought is just that hockey's hockey. And the female game is getting so good, and it's so exciting to see what's going on for them with the PWHL expansion in Vancouver and just what's going on in that level of hockey. So I'm super excited because that's motivating for these young girls, and the level of player is already really good, but it's only going to get better and better and better as more time and investment and skills are being worked on from 2 years old, like I was. And so, yeah, I'm excited to continue to watch how this grows, and I know it's going to be a great thing. But yeah, for me, I just feel like from the perspective of boys versus girls, like I would say hockey is hockey. I don't coach different hockey. Obviously, there's some different. It's again knowing your people, how they play, but that's no different in the boys' game. Is if you're not a very fast team, then you might not want to have explosively fast systems. If you're a very fast skating team, then obviously your systems can match the level type of player you have. So again, knowing your people, but for me, the big difference of the female male side is really just the culture side and the off ice side where girls need to know why, when, how. They need to know overload of information. They need to be constantly communicated to, understand every situation. And I think it makes you a sharper coach, coaching the female game. And I think that all coaches should coach the female game at some point and understand, because it's made me a much stronger coach. If I was to ever go back to the boys program and instill some of the things I've learned in the female game, it would only make me a better coach, because the communication and how you plan things and how you explain things just has to be so dialed in and so ready that it really sharpens your tools. And so for me, I'm thankful for this opportunity, and I've loved every minute of it, and I have no will to go back coaching the male game at this point. And I'm really excited to continue on coaching the Trinity Western University Spartans and continue to build something special there, where we can do big things as on and off the ice. So yeah, I just love the female game.
I love it. I love to hear that, especially now, it's becoming more and more popular. You're an individual who got to play hockey on the East Coast over at UMass. Now you're living on the West Coast. Out East is where all the PWHL teams once were. Now, of course, there's going to be expansion in Vancouver and Seattle. So, what do you think the fan bases are going to be like out West?
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate that we brought our entire Trinity team to the PWHL game in Vancouver at Rogers Arena, which had 19,500 fans there. A very different experience than when I go to the Vancouver Canuck games, which is a little more corporate feeling. This was a lot of people, boys and girls, but a lot of girls with signs and dancing and Taylor Swift songs, and it's just a different environment in there where it was high energy and exciting and fun, and the hockey on the ice was exceptionally good. And yeah, I see it being very successful in Vancouver, and obviously the East Coast, as far as the number of people that are in those areas as far as population goes, and those key hockey areas are obviously no-brainer places for the six teams to start. But I do think there's a lot of excitement in other areas, including Vancouver and now Seattle, and I think eventually maybe even Alberta and down south to California potentially. So we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, for me, I'm excited, and I loved watching the game. I was a fan of it, and think that it's a great thing for these young girls to look up to these role models and pro players, and for our players to see that how close they are to this next step for them. And the more teams, the more encouraging it is for the percentage of chances of actually getting a tryout and trying to make a team there for our girls. So all around, it's just great for Vancouver, great for our area, and and yeah, I grew up in the West, so I only went to the East to play university for UMass Lowell in the NCAA. But my time there was, you could tell that New England area is definitely a hockey bed, and very thankful for my experiences there. That saw a lot of great coverage of, obviously the Boston Bruins and the eastern side of university, which is an amazing amount of different universities that are involved in NCAA and college hockey and high school hockey. So yeah, hockey's alive and well.
It's fantastic, especially with that announcement of the PWHL Vancouver, just over 2 weeks ago now. A lot to be excited for, a lot to be excited about. You talked about how nice it is for young girls to look up to this. You also talked a little bit about how it's exciting for your own players that you coach over, at TWU to be able to look at this. Is that conversation of I want to play in the PWHL becoming more and more popular for you the longer that this league continues to operate?
Absolutely. I when I'm recruiting players for our university, a big piece of what I'm looking for are players that want to grow. They don't want to be stale. They don't want to be stagnant. They don't want to just go get a degree and sort of hockey's on the background. Like I'm actually looking for players that have share that same passion I have for the game and wanna get better every day because they love the sport and they love the game and they want to increase their chances at trying to break through to that dream of playing in the PWHL. And yeah, more than ever, most girls I talk to in the recruiting process, or that's a big piece of it for them, is they want to get better and go to a university where they're going to develop into a player that is at the pro ranks. And yeah, we're really trying to do that at TWU, where we can grow a program of where we can be a stepping stone to that level. And again, as more teams come into the league, the more likelihood of those opportunities. And it's not just the best player in Canada. It could be, a bunch of different players from Canada University that break into those leagues and make a career of it. And hopefully by that time, there's even more money in it for them, where they don't have to work another job and they can just do that as a living.
The PWHL, it's alive and well. I'm going to ask you one more question, Coach, about the league before we jump back into Spartans hockey. But, we hear a lot of positive things about the PWHL, but what do you think are some of the issues that, they might run into or they've already run into? How do you think they can, overcome those?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's as you start anything, there's growing pains. I mean, at Trinity, we're only in our fourth year, and there's been growing pains in those first 4 years as you build a new program, and you learn a lot along the way, and especially in the early days where you see what works and what doesn't. But I think they're off to a really good start. I think they have an audience, a buy-in. I like that the players. All the top players are in one league now, and they're all competing, and it makes it really exciting. And I like how they're promoting the game to other areas of North America and maybe one day Europe, and really push it to a global market. So I think, obviously I've already said it, but I think for it to take another big step, obviously I think the contracts have to get larger. You'd hope that a minimum would be in the $100,000 range for the bottom contract in the league, because now a player can actually afford to live and not have to have a second job or a second income. And yeah, where it is right now, obviously some players are getting paid decent, and obviously there's sponsorships and different things like that. But I think like the actual hockey contract has to get to a place where, yeah, that can be the sole thing they focus on, because as a pro athlete, you have to train, you have to prepare. It's a 12 months of commitment. It's not just a season and then you take the season off. Like, you're working harder in the off season than probably during the actual season. So they need to be able to do that and not have to worry about feeding their family with another job. So I think that's a key piece in my opinion, and I hope it goes to that fairly soon. And obviously, there's a lot that comes behind it, from ticket sales to corporate sponsors to all the different relationships they have with ways to create revenue.
Do you see TWU or any, teams at that level getting a relationship with the PWHL, especially now that there is a team here in Vancouver?
Yeah, I mean, we're slowly building it already. We talked to some of the league representatives already about, encouraging players to go and enter the draft or to try out for teams. So they're already reaching out to our level, and Like I said before, there's some really high-end players in Canada that, obviously a lot of people discuss that, maybe the NCAA Division One might be a more of a feeder system, but I think there's a lot of players in Canada that are really earning their stripes and could easily be NCAA players that chose to stay back in Canada for whatever reason, due to school choices or career paths or closer to home, and different reasons that they stayed in. And U Sport is a very, very good level of hockey. And obviously specifically Canada West, where our division is very, very strong. And it's exciting to see the growth of how good it's getting, and the young girls that are coming in and already pushing spots to the older players. And yeah, it's very exciting. And so yeah, we are building a relationship with the PWHL slowly. I think it's going to take time as well, and some proof in the pudding. And as far as some of our players that actually do play there and are succeeding, you'll start seeing more and more scouts looking our way. And so that'll come for sure. And definitely with the growth of teams, will put us more on a map as well, again, for a better percentage chance of making it. So yeah, I think that relationship's huge, and I look forward to building a relationship with the local team in Vancouver, and seeing how that goes. And from different ways to connect our players, to connecting leadership opportunities, to learning from their coaching staff and their professional people as well. And yeah, when everyone shares the game, we all get better. So
Coach Peter Hay with the TW Spartans. Coach, not quite done with you yet. Just got a couple rapid fire ones for you
sure.
before I let you go. Coffee or tea before a big game?
Oh, coffee for sure. Coach Battery.
Favorite hockey movie of all time?
Oh, it's got to be Slapshot.
Best arena you've ever played in?
Oh boy, probably Hockey East Championships in Boston. It was called the Fleet Center at the time, but
Right on.
it was a full building, and probably the largest crowd I played in.
What's your go-to pregame song?
Oh, there's lots, but to believe it or not, I kind of, when I was a player, I really liked the techno side. It just fired me up. So probably
There we go.
some sort of techno song, maybe um, I don't know. I'll just say techno.
Most memorable goal you've scored?
Oh boy, probably it was UMass Lowell versus UNH. It was a playoff game, and it was a very key series, and I scored a key goal to help eliminate the UNH University in their playoffs when they were the favorite team.
Black or white stick tape?
Definitely white.
If you weren't coaching hockey, what would you be doing?
Teaching,
Right
being
on.
being in the classroom, being around kids, hockey schools.
This one might be tough for you. Hopefully you can keep it respectful, but what do you think is one word your players would use to describe you?
Probably a player coach.
Favorite post-game meal?
Oh, it's always got to be chicken with something, chicken and pasta, chicken and garlic bread and salad, but always chicken.
And the last one, coach, might be the hardest one for you. Who's the greatest player of all time? I'm going to ask you this two parts, male player and female player.
Male is easy for me right now. To me, it's just super obvious. It's Connor McDavid, the best player to ever lace skates. His skill, his speed, his ability, his leadership, his game-changing abilities individually. There's no one else like it. And with all due respect to all those other leaders I mentioned before, with Gretzky and Yzerman and Sakic and Lemieux, but yeah, Connor McDavid is the best player to ever lace up skates. He's AI. He's not even human. So, and then female. I mean, how can you not say Marie Poulin? I had a great opportunity to meet her in a Hockey Canada Skill Academy conference in Calgary once, and just a fabulous person. And yeah, she's done nothing but amazing things for Canada and women's hockey. And yeah, just a great hockey player.
Head coach Peter Hay of the Trinity Western University Spartans. Coach, a pleasure. Thanks so much for doing this. I really do appreciate it.
All the best to you in breakaway coverage as you continue to grow as well. And thanks for having me. It's been a privilege. Have a good
Thank you for
day.
joining us on this episode. I'm John Carlin Ado. Make sure you tune in next week for a brand new one. This is Breakaway Coverage signing out.